Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new on this channel, then please subscribe and press the bell notification icon for more gameplays, reviews and updates. Syndrome. Syndrome is a science fiction survival horror video game, developed by Camel 101 and Bigmoon Entertainment, and released for PC, PS4, Xbox One, Mac and Linux. In this game, our protagonist is freshly awakened from the cold sleep, and is confronted with bloody atrocities and intrigues. The game sets you the task of finding out what has happened aboard the ship through exploration, diary pages and notes, and during the game, you will find Syndrome plays homage to both Alien Isolation through its fear-inducing gameplay, and Dead Space through its story premise. Space survival horror was last seen, with the masterpiece Alien Isolation. Creeping around the abandoned spaceship, looking to find anything to help you escape, while being constantly stalked by the classic XENOMORPH was just terrifying. The enemies also give a vibe of Terminator, but that's not to say the game doesn't have anything of its own. Galen is not aware of what happened on board, and in general he has some memory problems. But it is hardly possible in such an environment to build pleasant conclusions, especially when the atmosphere is scary, most of the systems are not working, there is blood and half-eaten bodies all around. The models are nightmarish, and almost invincible, when you don't have any ammo left. According to the computer, almost all of the 350 crew members are said to be dead. I like punishing gameplay experiences as much as the next player, but I like it to be in a way that presents an interesting challenge for me to overcome. Forcing a player to play through extended sections without the opportunity to save and exit, and adding junky enemies, isn't adding challenge to a game, but instead it's just crummy design choice. Where the source material offers a claustrophobic environment that always feels threatening even when it is not. Syndrome instead offers a lifeless space that feels exceptionally open and empty. Unfortunately, it's not in a spooky sort of way, and instead leaves the whole experience feeling dull and uninspired. When it comes to the story, step by step you will understand what's happening, and will get rough idea with the help of databases, correspondence and log entries, way rescue options and repair damage. But it doesn't take long, and you have to fear for your own life. Defense systems are activated, and there are these strange creatures, half human half machine, roaming in the ship. You can defend yourself against some, with others you can only escape or hide. You are haunted by hallucinations, strange inexplicable rustles are heard at some levels, short recordings in computers and tablets tell about psychosis gripping the ship, and special forces guarding something incomprehensible. Nevertheless, it is difficult to get into this story seriously. The actors are well voiced, and at first the plot is intriguing, but interest will quickly subside. The commander of the special forces, Naomi, and the engineer Jimmy, barricaded somewhere, competing to accuse each other of all mortal sins, insisting that the opposite side cannot be trusted. And yet the naive hero stubbornly believes everyone, even when the catch is obvious, and more than once gets him in the neck for it. The game calmly explains the stupidest actions of the characters by the same psychosis. Unfortunately, while Syndrome's heart is in the right place, it falls victim to a myriad of design problems and rookie mistakes. Syndrome is a title that surprises you in many ways, and the first of them is its visual appearance. There is a tremendously solid and detailed game, with certain elements such as fire, that attract attention. And after a glance, we realize that deep down, everything is to some extent known to us. There are fundamental things that developers shouldn't get wrong when they're making a game, like basic rules established over years, and embraced by players who need a baseline of competence and familiarity. While traveling back and forth across the ship, it will take you through a lot of repetitive scenery. Syndrome looks great at first, but after a few hours, you have seen every object, every computer screen, and every character skin a bunch of times. The ship is dark and drab, and that is appropriate, but that doesn't mean that every area has to look almost exactly the same. When it comes to weapons, the game is like the Terminator, where you are being constantly stalked, and any little sound you make while exploring is guaranteed to be heard by nearby enemies, and they will come searching for you. Weapons are scattered around, ranging from the basic handgun to plasma grenades, but ammo is not in abundance on this spaceship, so running and hiding is most often the only option to ensure your survival. Enemies come in various forms, but mainly your classic zombie types robots, with different and varied difficulty as you progress through the game. However, this is where the frustration will kick in, as the AI is unbelievably random, and offers no clues or assistance in avoiding confrontations. And also there is no middle ground in the difficulty, as some take a single bullet or swing of your wrench, and go down instantly, whereas some are almost invincible, and by the time you have achieved killing it, you are out of all ammo, and the noise has attracted more to your location. And while you will die and die again, I found one very important aspect very annoying, and that is the lack of saving options. I'm so used to automatic saving, I just played on thinking that all my exploration, findings and kills were stored under my last autosave, but it turns out you must manually save them, and at no point did the game ever warn me of this. Theoretically, you should be able to survive lots of encounters via combat, but the combat has all kinds of problems too. The melee combat is terrible, animations are unimpressive and the collision detection is horrible. Enemies will register a hit on you, even when their arms and their claws are 5 feet away from your face. They will also frequently register hits on you, when they are only halfway through their punching animation. Enemies swing their arms lightning fast, giving you no opportunity to use the game's completely worthless block ability. The worst part of the game is probably the part where it needs to succeed the most, and that is stealth mechanics. Sneaking past many of the enemies is a must, but the stealth mechanics for the game are rotten. If you think back to any survival horror game that you have played that involves being stealthy, then chances are, it had better stealth than this game. Syndrome requires you to stay hidden from enemies, but it gives you absolutely no tools for doing so. You have no radar to give you an idea where any of the enemies are, and nor can you lean, that means no peeking around corners to see if the coast is clear. You make less sound when you are crouched than when you walk, but you still make some sound, which makes it impossible to sneak up on enemies to ambush them. You can theoretically run past enemies, but you can only run for about 4 or 5 seconds, which is not enough to get away completely and find a place to hide. The ship where game takes place looks gorgeous. With maximum graphics settings enabled, the lighting creates an impressive mood. Right away, it is easy to be impressed by the atmosphere that the game presents due to its terrific scenery. Syndrome does suffer from the bland gray and brown color palette that defined the looks of games like Dead Space and Doom 3, but it still crafts some attractive and immersive environments. Particularly impressive are the numerous bright colorful computer screens and readouts that adorn almost every room. Don't be surprised if you get creeped out multiple times by the shadows of an inanimate object dancing on the walls of a room where something is burning. The weapons that you hold are incredibly detailed, and look as good as any first-person weapons that I have ever seen. The character skins and environmental textures don't fare quite as well, but they at least look decent. Equally effective is the game's environmental audio, which contains a broad range of unsettling noises like heartbeats, hissing steam, sparking wires, doors opening and closing, and all sorts of creepy bumps and inorganic groans. Syndrome presents its sci-fi and horror themes very well. And this might sound good, but unfortunately, this is the only department where this game excels at. Aside from being a good-looking game, the ship has a real feeling of tangible design to it, like something built for real people. But through all its gameplay faults, it's not a bad story, and does have a little enjoyable twist towards the end. And the spatial effects are just perfectly implemented in Syndrome, with every shuffle, creak and footstep in 3D audio, and playing it with headphones will both help heighten the tension, and help determining where the next enemy is coming from. So that concludes my review here. Thank you for watching, and if you're new on this channel, then please make sure to subscribe, and press the bell notification icon, to get notification as soon as I drop a video. Keep visiting my channel for more gameplays, reviews and updates.
Naomi? I took him down. It's over.